What's up, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. So today I'm going to be doing a sit down, just kind of honest, like, this is kind of what's going on in Magic with me right now. As you can see from the title, I am looking to get into more competitive Magic, and it's a very nerve-wracking experience, and I have been constantly thinking about it. Magic has been like on the forefront of my mind for like the past couple of weeks, and I kind of just want to like talk about my experience with it, basically like what's been going on. So I guess I'll start kind of like from the beginning of when I started building my Modern deck. This deck never originally started as something where I didn't even know what Modern was at the time. I just made this deck, it just happened to be Modern. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know what Modern meant. And it was mono white, token gen. It was very, very straightforward. It ran cards like Spectral Procession. Just think of token gen in mono white, and that's what it was. Very, very straightforward, very easy deck to run. And I built the deck, and this was, like I said, before I really even knew that tokens were a really big thing in Modern. And so, flash forward to, I can't even remember for the life of me, I want to say it was Fate Reforged. I think it was Fate Reforged pre-release. I don't even remember how I did at the Fate Reforged pre-release, it's like all blur in my head. But the first game that I played, I asked the guy, I was like, oh, hey, how'd you pull, whatever, and he's like, I pulled really well, and I was like, okay, that's not the ideal thing that you want to hear. So his game, he popped down like a Monastery Siege and like a Sorin Psalm Visitor in the same turn, and it was a bad time. I lost that game so hard, it was bad. Sorin just kicked my butt because of the lifelink, and it was so funny is I ended up doing Two-Headed Giant after that, and I ended up pulling a Sorin Psalm Visitor, and I was like, I feel like it was Sorin being like, hey man, I know I was really rude in that first game, but like, here, I'm yours now, put me in something. And I didn't really have anything to put it in at the time because my spirit deck was mono white at the time, and I was like, I don't really want to change that. So then I started to say, hey, I'm gonna make my spirit deck black. I'm gonna splash black in it. Again, I had no idea Modern existed. I also didn't know about the Modern event deck, which if you're looking to get into black and white tokens, I'll totally link that down below because it's a great starting point. And I looked at, so I looked at that, and then I said, oh, Lingering Souls, it's going to be also a really great staple. So I started doing really more research and getting into building and sharpening my deck so that I could be more competitive. And I was just, and I still am very, very nervous about the whole thing. I mean, for people who have played competitive Magic before, it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. But like for me, and I feel like I have so many fears, for different things, and I don't know. So I think like a lot of my fears are just like, the deck is good and I completely know it's good, and money is a really big thing for the deck because the deck valued right now is about like $250, and most people's decks, most people spend like $500, $600 on a Modern deck. You know, you can totally spend like $200 or something and still do pretty good, but like my whole thing is like, I don't know if that's going to be a factor. And so I was talking to one of the guys who works at this card store that I go to, and him and I played 2 games. He played his Abzan deck and Splinter Twin. So the first game he played Abzan and I just totally lost. The second game he played Splinter Twin and I actually won, and it was really cool actually. I had like 6 spirits on the field, and I had a Windburst Kites, and then I Windburst Kites into Intangible Virtue. He killed 2 of them, and then I had Zealous Persecution in my hands, so it was like 12 damage. It was a lot of damage. It was really cool. But yeah, it was we were talking about it, and I was just like, Splinter Twin freaks me out a lot. Like, that's a deck that is very, very scary for me, even though I know the deck is, I don't want to say it's not really impossible to deal with. Like, I thought that the deck was like, oh my gosh. The thing about Splinter Twin is you have to have an instant, like you have to do instant speed removal, because if not, you're just so dead, and there's like no coming back from it. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna do something next turn, guess what, because there is no next turn, so you have to do it Splinter Twin like right then and there. And I think one of my fears too is that, black-white tokens are, yes, a decently popular deck in Modern. They are used, however, they're not at the top of a lot of people's deck lists. It's something that, I don't want to say it's unique. I'm not the first person who's done this. I completely understand that. Magic, you in a sense, you really do kind of recycle other deck ideas and things like that, you know? But I don't know, it's just my whole thing is like, I feel like I'm not even gonna show up, you know what I mean? And it's like, I say that, and I played my friend Justin, who's building a Modern Affinity deck, and we play tested. I think we played like 4 times, and I won like every time. And it was like, his deck is good. Like, his deck is like a $600 Modern Affinity deck. It does what Modern Affinity does, and it does it pretty well. And I don't know, maybe it was just the matchup, maybe just tokens are better because they just fly over a lot of things that Affinity produces, but still, I mean, like I said, I'm just so worried about so many different things. I mean, missing triggers, I feel like, is always a problem. I'm better about keeping up with triggers when it's a deck I've played for a while. Like, if I just built a brand new deck, I'm more likely to miss triggers, compared to if I've had the deck for a while and I know this deck inside and out. Like, this is a deck that I've put a lot of thought into, I've played a lot. With the changes, I haven't obviously played it as much because I made the changes pretty recently. And sideboarding is another really big thing because sideboard is, let's be real here, it is probably harder than building your main board. Because if you main board something and it works, you're like, okay, great, this card's staying in. But sideboarding is like, I have to disassemble some of these cards because this card doesn't work in this matchup and I have to sideboard them out. And then I'm just worried about like Emrakul because like I can't react to an Emrakul. Like, nothing at all in my deck can at all react to an Emrakul. I feel like not a lot of decks can. Not really. No, not at all. That card, like, scares me anyway. But, like, that's the thing, is combos just kind of freak me out and stuff. But yeah, and I had some pep talks today from some of my friends who play there, and they're like, we're talking about a small spectrum. We're talking about this one card store that I'm gonna go to modern events with. It's a store. It's not like I'm going to this super big invitational, anything like that. That would be super cool. I mean, if I could do that in the future, that would be, like, pretty cool. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. I honestly don't know. And I don't want to say I'm not aiming for that, but right now, I'm really just trying to get this deck really good. And like I said, it freaks me out because it's not a top deck. It's not a top 1 deck. It's not like everyone and their mother has this deck and I'm just another person playing it. And one of my friends said, like, maybe that's kind of a good thing. Like, you're playing this deck that, like, not a lot of other people have played. And the place that I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna be, like, the only person who has this deck. And that, like, excites me because I'm like, yeah, I have this cool deck. But it makes me nervous at the same time. The deck is stoppable. It's good. It produces lots of tokens, and if you can't deal with flying, you're gonna have a bad time, but you can Pyroclasm them. You can Anger the Gods them. Like, it's not like, oh my gosh, this deck is, like, super broken and I just win on turn 4. I mean, like, this is not Splinter Twin. Like, this is not the deck that does that, but it is still, like, really, I think it's pretty competitive. I don't know how it's gonna match up to other decks, you know? And the whole experience and the whole situation just, like, really freaks me out, and I don't know how it's gonna do, and I don't know how I'm gonna do, and I think I have, like, so many common fears, I would say, with a lot of people who are really trying to get into it. And one of the other things I said to them is I was like, that I was so worried about is just, like, people, like, being rude. Like, I don't have a tolerance for, like, rude people, and I really don't have a tolerance for rude Magic players. Like, if you're gonna be rude to me, just get out of here. Like, don't even play me. Like, come on. It's just, like, I don't want to deal with your attitude. And I'm kind of just worried that it's gonna be, like, someone's gonna play a card that have never heard of before, and I'm gonna, like, ask to read it, and they're gonna be, like, really rude about it. Like, oh, why don't you know what that card's be? Like, I'm sorry, I'm not, like, a Wikipedia for Magic cards. I know a good percentage of Magic cards. I don't know every single Magic card on file. Oh, what does this card do? Go ahead, tell me, read me the flavor text. Like, what? I don't know how to do that. Like, does anyone? I mean, like, come on. Like, I can't do something like that. It's like, that's like another thing I'm worried about. It's like, what if I ask to read someone's cards? I'm not like a bank of knowledge where is that like I feel like that's a bank of I think it's a Magic card. Bank of knowledge. Thirst for knowledge or something. I don't know. But yeah, there's just, like, so many common fears I'm worried about someone being like, hey, your deck's not good, hey, your deck doesn't compete to mine, and, like, the place that I go to is really cool. Like, the people there seem really nice. It's just that I've never done something like this before, and I get nervous when I play casual Magic, so it's like, of course I'm gonna be nervous for this, and, like, I may act chill, I may act confident, but I'm probably really nervous. And my big thing too is, this is one of the first times I've ever played with hand destruction cards. I have 2 Thoughtseizes and I'm getting 2 Inquisitions of Kozilek's for the door. Oh, that's another thing I'm worried about. I'm worried about someone's gonna be like, why aren't you full running Thoughtseize? You're not a real Magic player. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know, I'm running 2 Inquisitions and I'm running 2 Thoughtseizes and 4 Paths to Exiles in the main. Like, I don't know what you want from me. Like, I don't know. I'm just running 2 and 2 for Thoughtseizes and Inquisition. I don't know. It's like the best of both worlds. I'm getting 2 each. I don't know. I totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, Thoughtseize. That's gonna be a thing that's gonna freak me out because it's like, this is one of the first times I've ever played with cards like that. It's like, what's the card do I take? You know, and like, my friend put this in a really good perspective for me where, say you're dealing with like a Liliana of the Veil or like a Pyroclasm, both of those cards are like pretty scary and pretty bad, but you take the Pyroclasm because if you don't have your creatures, then you can't even swing at the Liliana or swing at them, and that's like a really good point. And of course not every decision is going to be like as basic as that, but I'm really worried about that, and I'm really worried about like, what do I Path to Exile if there's like 15 things to target? I mean, if there's 15 things to target, I'm probably dead, but like, that's beside the point, unless I have like 15 tokens, which would be pretty cool. But yeah. And then, I mean, the whole thing about, like, not drawing lands, the deck is has a very low CMC. I mean, modern decks kind of need to have a low CMC to function, for the most part. The highest thing in the deck is Sorin Solemn Visitor, which I 2-run of. Some people would probably be like, why aren't you 3-running Sorin? Because this is how the deck is, and this is how, I don't know, that's just how I built the deck, and that's how it's going to be for a while, and if I need to 3-run Sorin, I'll 3-run him, that's totally fine. But, I don't know, something I just really realized is that everyone has their own style of building, and it's sometimes some cards that are played in Modern are not going to be like that super famous, like, card that everyone else is going to play. Like, one of my favorite cards that I actually put in the deck that I'm mainboarding is this card, Beckon Apparition. This card is actually really amazing. It's 1 mana, white or black. It's an instant. You exile a target card from a graveyard, you put a 1/1 black and white spirit token onto the field. So even if they fetch turn 1 or whatever, even if you exile a fetch land, which I mean, like, that's not really the end of the world, that's like still really good, and you get a spirit out of it, and then you run the buffs with it, you run Intangible Virtue onto the piers, and your spirits are bigger. But the really great thing here is that really stops a lot of abs index, because if you just get rid of a Lingering Souls, they can't flashback their Lingering Souls. If you get rid of any good cards, they can't get them back with Tasigur, or they can't delve the Tasigur. It's like a really good card. And that's gonna not, like, again, some people would be like, this is not a card that's used in Modern, why are you playing it? I don't know, because I'm playing it in my deck, and it's worked pretty well. It's worked for the past for me, and this is kind of what I'm keeping in the deck. Okay, I think that's all I have to say for now. Those are my fears, worries, concerns. I don't know what's going on at this point with it, but we're gonna try. I'm gonna go to a PPTQ, try saying that 12 times fast, which is on July 25th with the deck, and I don't know how it's gonna do. Like, I have no idea. It's like, I haven't playtested it as much as I probably should, because again, I kind of just decided fairly recently that I would start doing this, so I have no idea how the deck's gonna go. We just kind of have to see. But yeah, I'll keep you guys posted, and we'll talk about the Modern experience and playing competitively and stuff like that. I'm just, like, freaked out, and it's like, I've been told that it's good and it works well, but it's like, now I need the confirmation for myself to see it. I've had this deck for a very long time. I've had this deck for a long time that when I've played it against people in casual games, they're like, that deck is really good for casual, and this was before I did any of the tweaks. Now it's just gotten more competitive, and that's pretty much the main thing that I changed about the deck. Is the theme of it stayed the same, it's tokens beat down, but we kind of just have to see. But alright, that was just like 15 minutes of me ranting. If you stayed through this, hey, A+, good job. That's pretty much it. I gotta go to work now. But I'll talk to you guys later. Leave me comments in below if you play competitive Magic, if you were super nervous your first time. Talk to me in the comments. I don't know, take a look at my deck. It's gonna be down below. Yeah, that's all I got. Alright, I'll see you guys later.